And I remember when I first saw it, my first instinct was, are you saying that she's replaceable? Welcome to the Livermore Academy YouTube channel, where we break down reality TV, social media, and celebrity gossip so you can get an understanding of the reality of toxic, narcissistic, and abusive dynamics and trauma, and what this can look like in real time. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe, hit that bell, and let's get into it. So apparently Justin Bieber calls Hailey Bieber a Jezebel. Now, whether he did or didn't is questionable, but we are going to talk about it because this is a perfect time for me to discuss how toxic, narcissistic, and generally abusive people keep you insecure and smear you, okay? Now, I had a look at it, and to be honest, it certainly looks like he did indirectly call her a Jezebel, especially looking at some of the content that comes before it. But we're going to get into it, right? So the red flag for me is the backhandedness of it all, because toxic, narcissistic, and abusive types will often use backhanded compliments in the form of jokes or whatever to chip away at your self-esteem. Okay, to keep you insecure. And they do it like this so that they can appear as though they're being nice when actually they're not. And for those of you who are not clear, a backhanded compliment is a compliment that comes with a sting at the end, right? So you're not quite sure whether they meant the positive thing or the negative thing. Right? It comes with a negative edge to it. And he actually does this twice in a very short space of time. And whilst you might argue that, well, he has posted good things about her too. There was one where he's got a picture of her with the Casey and JoJo song, All My Life, right? And for me, that kind of makes it worse because that's what they'll do. They'll mix it in with actually good things and real compliments to keep you confused and off balance, right? So when they do the backhanded compliment, it's easier for you to go, oh, well, they didn't really mean it. But then in the back of your mind, you're still wondering, but did they? And that's how they get you. They basically corroded your self-esteem over time with these backhanded compliments in the form of whatever, right? And they're always quite subtle. So as an isolated incident, you might be accused of overreacting and tell yourself that you're overreacting. But over time, a pattern does emerge. And I'm starting to see a pattern here because first he posts this post on his Instagram of Hailey driving, right? With the Beyonce song, Irreplaceable. And I remember when I first saw it, my first instinct was, are you saying that she's replaceable? That is what I actually thought at the time. And I thought, Ange, no, you're being too cynical, right? Wrong choice of lyrics, perhaps. But I guess he's going for the she's irreplaceable, right? So I dismissed it. But then I find out yesterday that he posts another post, which is apparently complimentary, but then with the song that is labeled Jezebel. And I'm like, and if you listen to the song, it sounds positive, right? But then we have that negative connotation with the Jezebel. So we've got the negative connotation with the Beyonce song and the lyrics he chose to use in the post, which was basically, don't get carried away and start telling yourself that you're irreplaceable. Those lyrics are what he uses on the post of Hailey driving. Now, you could argue that that post wasn't directed at Hailey, but instead Selena, saying that Selena was replaceable, in which case he's using Hailey as a pawn, and we're seeing more of his triangulation tactics. So either way, it's a lose-lose for Justin. But back to my point. So negative lyrics, but then irreplaceable being a positive title, right? And here we've got positive lyrics, but then the title being negative. Now, this might seem like a reach to some people, but over time, this is an effective way of breaking down your self-esteem and keeping you wondering about, actually, do they actually really love me? Because they said this grand thing and they did this grand gesture, but then they said this too. He also posted a picture of this person with really ugly, weird teeth, and then a picture of Hailey next to it, where he said, this is what it reminds me of. So here we have a pattern of him mocking her and sideways putting her down. It's not a good look. The Jezebel thing on its own, I would say, okay, maybe. But then with the other things following, I'm like, yeah, you're doing this on purpose, Justin. He's religious as well, right? So the Jezebel connotation is really a real connotation. But we're going to get into that in a minute. Here's a woman who shares her personal experiences with many narcissistic types. Have a listen.
And one way you're going to be able to tell that it's a fucking narcissist and one of the worst narcissists is they're going to make fucking small comments to try and get you to feel insecure. That is a huge thing because trust me, I have lost count of the amount of narcissists I have dealt with in my fucking life at this point. And every single fucking one, they enjoy making you feel bad about yourself. And it's funny because the way they do it too is it's very discreet. A lot of them want to be very discreet about it and very sneaky about it. So for example, they'll make small comments to try and get you to feel insecure. And it's comments that are so discreet, so sneaky that you might not even fully like comprehend it at first, that it's a little bit of a dig, that it's a little bit of an insult, right? But this is a big thing that a lot of narcissists do.
Right? Now let's have a listen to what other people said about it.
Did Justin Bieber just indirectly say that his wife is replaceable? He just posted a picture of Hailey with the song Beyonce's Irreplaceable. The part that you can hear like on the post is crazy. She's saying, don't you ever for a second get to thinking you're irreplaceable. I could have another you in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute, baby. Usually I'm not one to like truly speculate on Justin and Hailey's marriage, but this is wild to me. And he knows that like everything he posts is gonna be like highly examined. If my partner did that to me, like posted a picture of me with this song like this, I would be furious.
And those were my thoughts immediately when I saw it. I saw the post for myself and was like, what the hell? Just, what are you doing? But like I said, I just thought, bad choice of lyrics, whatever, we're just going to let that be. But then, a couple of days later, he posts this.
Can't blame her for her beauty. She wins with her hands down.
Right? And I'm like, okay, that's positive. But then the song choice title is called Jezebel. Do we know what a Jezebel is? For those of you who don't know what a Jezebel is, and the definition I'm pretty sure is even worse when it comes to the religious connotation, but the Jezebel, the meaning in English is an immoral woman who deceives people in order to get what she wants. So the subtext in that is that he's some sort of victim to this beautiful woman who deceives to get what she wants. That's the subtext if we're looking at it from the title of the song. And you might be thinking, that's a bit of a reach though. It was just a song choice. But then again, that's what I thought about the Beyonce one, right? Why is he consistently making these positive, negative contradictions? Because it's a highly narcissistic, covertly narcissistic move that I'm seeing play out here, right? And if she were to call him out on it, she would be accused of being overly sensitive because I'm saying lovely things about you. Listen to the lyrics, right? And if she were to call him out on the Beyonce thing, he would say, oh, that was a mistake. The title says irreplaceable. See, you are irreplaceable. Do you see how that works? Yeah. Very sneaky, very underhand, but very effective. And they know that it is, right? And whilst it's debatable whether he is or isn't doing that, I personally think that he is. You know how I feel about Justin. I think he's highly narcissistic. So that literally falls in line with all of his other highly narcissistic behavior, his neglect, his outright disrespectful behavior towards her publicly and all the rest of it, right? You already know. If you watch my videos, you already know. So that falls in line for me. But I want to take an opportunity to talk about the smear campaign, because that is also part of a toxic, narcissistic, and abusive dynamic, right? Now, what is a smear campaign? This is where they use lies, half-truths, or whatever they can to make you look bad in the eyes of other people, right? And a lot of people talk about it in regards to narcissistic types doing this after the relationship ends. But the truth is they do it whilst you're in the relationship. They are always smearing you in the background. And I think it's important to note that this isn't just applicable to intimate partner relationships. This can happen in a workplace. This can happen in friendships. This can happen in families. A smear campaign can happen in whatever field, whatever area. And they target their people and also the most influential people in your life with this smear campaign. And if they can influence the most influential people in your field, they're going to encourage you to get rid of them. They're going to try to isolate you from them in some shape or form. Okay. Maybe they'll make it difficult for you to go out with them. They'll start arguments. Maybe they'll outright tell you that you can't see them. Maybe they'll say that that person fancies them. Whatever they need to do to create a wedge in that relationship that they cannot influence, they will do in order to get rid of that person. The rest of them can stay, but they will be heavily manipulated by this smear campaign technique. So how do they do it? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, my friends would never go for that. If the toxic, narcissistic, or abusive person is very good at what they do, they might just fall for it, because the good ones aren't just going to say some out and out lies about you, because they know that your friends and family will pick it up and give them the side eye and probably tell you about it and not like that person for the rest of the time that you're together. They know that, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to either feed into narratives that are already out there. So if you have a friend who is kind of jealous of you in some way, or they have some sort of negative connotation, they'll feed into whatever narrative that person has about you to get them on side, right? Or if there's a mother who's concerned about you in some way, they're going to feed into that narrative. Any kind of negative images of you within your family or friend circle, they're going to feed into that. So their lies are going to be, or half-truths are going to be in alignment with whatever negative wave is already there, right? Or they'll create a negative wave if there's nothing there, but they won't do it, like I said. It's not going to be a blatant dig. It's not going to be a blatant assassination. It's going to be more, they'll probably angle it in the way of concern. I'm really concerned about her because she does tend to do this thing. What do you suggest that I do about it? How can I help her through it? Type thing. And that is how they start feeding in the negative narrative about you being difficult to be with, whatever spin they are trying to portray, right? And remember, this isn't just in the intimate partner relationship. This could be in the workplace as well, right? So they might say something, for example, in the workplace, like, I'm really trying to work with her, but she's a little bit resistant with me. I've tried everything. What would you suggest that I do? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Now that, to the naked eye, doesn't sound like a criticism, but over time, it starts to paint you out as the person who's not a team player, who is difficult and hard to work with. Over time, they might even bring out the tears for the occasion, like, I am so upset because I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this person, right? Type thing. All of this is effective in making you look like the bad person without that person saying that actually you're just a bad person, because they know that kind of comes off like hate and it might not make them look good. So this is another way in which they'll do it. So whether it's intimate partner relationship, professional, family, whatever, the smear campaign is going to be active, right? And it just becomes more apparent and becomes more intense after the relationship ends. And that's why it can seem as though the smear campaign came out of nowhere, because they've been feeding and seeding and forming the foundation for that smear campaign the entire time that you were together, minus the love bombing phase, which sometimes can still be a part of it, to be fair. They might be love bombing you and then tearing you down behind your back. Like, I did all of these things. I gave her these roses and she didn't seem pleased at all, painting the picture that you're ungrateful, right? Even though you didn't do that at all. He did give you flowers, half truth, but your response was not what they said it was, type thing. So that's how the smear campaign works and how the toxic, narcissistic, or abusive type will employ it. So knowing this, it gives me pause when I see stuff like this. And remember what the Jezebel thing means. Because if he were to be setting the foundation for a smear campaign whilst in the relationship, this would be a good way of feeding into a narrative that's already out there, right? Because everybody's talking about Hailey and how she's unstable and how she's obsessed and how she got Justin and stole him from Selena and how he's a victim in that and how they roped him into a marriage and all of these things, right? So don't you think that the Jezebel thing might be feeding into that a little bit, Justin? And let's not pretend you haven't heard the narrative in the media, right? So that would be a good example of how they feed into narratives that are already out there. Now, is he doing this? Is he not doing this? Time will tell with that, but certainly a red flag for me. Certainly a red flag for me, because I think that's a bit convenient, don't you think? So in conclusion, toxics will use backhanded compliments to keep you insecure in the relationship, keep you questioning your worth and all of that stuff, whether they do it in the way that we've talked about here or in the form of jokes or whatever way in which they do it. If you're getting backhanded compliments where there's a sting at the end of it, or, you know, your value and worth is questioned at the end of it, red flag, right? Toxic, narcissistic, and generally abusive people will smear you whilst in the relationship with you, okay? It's not just after the relationship. They do it whilst you're in the relationship with them, okay? And they will covertly turn your friends and family against you over time, or just get rid of them if they cannot influence them. These are the tactics of the toxic, narcissistic, and abusive type. Okay, so stay woke, guys, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts? And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And until the next time, live boldly, live empowered, live from the inside out. Bye for now.
Yeah, you said it was love and all the above, but you wanna suffer. Trauma recovery. Yeah, trauma recovery. Toxic recovery. Trauma recovery. Toxic recovery.